This is the Welcome Distraction Podcast with the Kemp brothers. Their immature stories, advice, and opinions are their own and should be taken with the same level of seriousness as a drunk uncle's late-night conspiracy theory. Now buckle up, buttercups. It's about to get weird.
Thanks for joining us here on the Welcome Distraction Podcast. Thanks for coming back. I am one of your hosts, Brett Kemp, with my two brothers, Christopher and Nicholas Kemp. Thanks for coming back. So we're going to hit you real quick out the gate. Spotify. It's free to join. Just click on that. Listen to our episodes. We got a bunch out there now. It's free. Just come on by. Yeah, please do. So today's episode is, I'm coining it the Twinterview.
Twin
Me and Christopher are identical twins, not to exclude Nicholas. He's had a lot of twin interaction with his twin brothers, but we'll mention it later too. But a lot of times over the years, gotten mistaken for triplets.
Yeah, people ask if
when
me and him are twins, and we're like, no, but I have one. Yeah. They're like, get out of here.
Yeah. So we'll start at the beginning. Me and Christopher, born 70. Oh man, so long ago. But we were preemies. We were born 2 months premature, and I was 3 pounds. He was 2 pounds. It was incredibly dramatic.
Little fella.
And they like to say that the doctors way back then, when technology barely existed, you didn't know if you were having twins or what sex they were going to be. But out popped 2 little boys. I couldn't even tell our mom was pregnant with 1, let alone 2. And 2 little boys popped out, and I was 3 pounds. Christopher was 2 pounds. They like to say that if we had gone full term, I was taking all the food. And Christopher was going to die.
Yeah.
What do they always like to say,
selfish.
Christopher?
Bro,
There it is.
Always
Being selfish,
always
even
been
back in the
selfish.
room.
Yeah.
I like to say he was my womb mate.
It's
a good one.
I think technology and medical, it was good back in the day, but I don't think our parents were doing what they needed to do.
Yeah, probably because mom was smoking and drinking and stuff.
No.
Probably would help us along 2 months.
Yeah. I think they should have known, but here we are.
So we'll get into the Twinterview. I need to trademark that. But this is the questions that we've gotten throughout our lifetime being identical twins. The questions that, friends and family, and when they saw that freak show walking across the street, would always ask us. And you could probably guess what some of them would be, as you may have encountered some twins in your life, what you would ask them, the things you want to get off your chest. And man, over the years, I've liked to say that I could tell you the first 10 questions you're going to ask us when you come up to us. So what's the first one that comes to your mind, Christopher?
It's always, who is older?
There you go. So 3 minutes older, as discussed.
3 minutes older.
Christopher.
So that makes me the original and Brett the copy. That's just the way it works.
Yeah. Copy and paste. Yeah. So we were going to do another show, and it was going to be called Copy, Paste, and Nick.
Wait, you're paste or I'm copy? You're copy.
Paste.
I think.
Yeah, you're copy, and then I'm paste. So, but anyway, that'll be my middle name now. Brett Paste Kemp. They'll just think it's because I was eating paste as a kid or something. But yeah, so he's 3 minutes older, and I guess that's pretty close in terms of identical twins. I've heard some being like hours apart or born on different days.
Yeah, people are like, what's your birthday? We're like, twins, but technically you can be born after midnight, so that'd be awkward. Plus, parents would have to celebrate 2 days in a row.
Yeah, how dare a twin get his own day?
No.
So another one that would come up is a lot of times when somebody would ask, like, all right, if he gets hurt, can you feel it? Yeah, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, they'd be like, if I punch him, can you feel it? And then they'd whack the shit out of one of us. Like, no, I don't. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. And you're about to feel this, though. That's how it was always posed to us as a kid. It wasn't like, hey, if he hurts himself, are you going to feel it? It was always with a threat of violence. If I hit you, is he going to feel it? Like, thanks, asshole.
Yeah, or like, can you tell what he's thinking right now? Like, I guess the number 1 through 10. 11.
Yeah. Nailed it. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the top 5, I'd say, too. Can you tell what he's thinking right now? And, our explanation over the years, as we've become wise in our twinsdom, man, I'm good. All these. Twinsdom is, I think it's because for us, we've spent almost every waking second together since we were born, so into those teenage years, I could tell you what he's thinking because I'm going to react the exact same way. So, but even still now, and Nicholas is very much a part of this, just being brothers, but we see something on TV or we see somebody doing something either funny, stupid, or whatever, we'll just glance over each other and just kind of give that head nod. And it's because I know what you're thinking. Yep, that guy's a moron, or or whatever the response is about to be. We just kind of acknowledge, like, yes,
Or
thinking the
we
same
will
thing you
say
are.
the same thing at the same time. Like twins.
Yeah, yeah. And we're kind of, I guess, we're more identical than some other identical twins. So this is not, and this will be a pet peeve. Identical twins, completely different than just saying twins. All right. So twins that are the ones that are fraternal twins, those are what we like to refer to as
Puppies.
literal puppies. Yeah. No offense, but you're just
Yeah,
siblings
it's
that were born at the
just a
same
group of
time.
kids born at the same time. That's
Mhm.
all it is.
Me
Nothing
and
twin about
Christopher
it.
are,
Yeah.
yeah. Me and Christopher are the original freak show. We are a cell split in half and the same
We
DNA.
shared the same womb.
Yeah. So this was one thing I would always get worked up when a boy and a girl twin, they're just born at the same time. Like, oh, that's my twin sister. That's my twin brother. And they're opposite sex. Nobody ever said twinsies because you look like a boy and a girl that are completely different. They say twinsies because you look the same, right? So us being identical twins, that's kind of a pet peeve for
Yeah.
us.
But for Nicholas,
That being
he grew
said,
up with us. He doesn't see us as twins. He can tell name that tune. We could have half a syllable out, and he knows which one of us talking. So he's just seen it differently his whole
Yeah.
life. And
I would
Nicholas,
say
you could
that
tell us more about that.
that's one of the questions I would always get in line with your guys' twin questions is, what's it like growing up having brothers that are twins? And my response was always, they don't seem like twins to me. There was nothing about you that seemed alike in terms of your looks. You never looked the same to me. You never sounded the same to me. Christopher was only 3 minutes older, but I always looked at him as my oldest brother, and Brett was the middle brother.
Wiser.
Whatever.
Trendsetter.
See? Middle child. Yeah, and when the parents would leave, who's in charge? Christopher, because he's oldest.
That's
What the
right.
hell? That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
But we'd always team up.
Yeah, but when we were little, before we could even speak actual words of English, this was told to us. I don't have memories from when I was 1, but this was told to us, and I've come to find out that it's a many popular thing between other twins is since they've spent every waking moment together, they do develop their own language. And so once we found out about that, we'd asked our parents about it. Hey, is that saying? They, oh yeah, yeah. You guys would just look at each other. You'd speak some little gibberish in your diaper, and you just run off. And they're like, oh my gosh, they just talked to each other in their own language. They had their own little plan and they just ran off to execute it. You better go follow them. Probably outside smearing shit in the green carpet.
Or you were saying, hey, I just got fed twice and you didn't get anything. Ha.
Oh. Yep. Yeah. So one thing that goes with that is a lot of people can tell us apart and a lot of people can't. Most people can't tell us apart, but some people, they learn to be able to tell the difference. And some people could never get it. You'd see friends, even some close friends, but even some family could not tell the difference. And grandma was one of them who could never tell the difference. A story I like to tell would be when I'd be in the kitchen and she'd come in and she'd get about 5 minutes into a story. And I'd say, I know, Grandma, you just told me that. She'd, oh, I thought you were the other one. Get out of my face.
Get out of here.
Sorry, I didn't want to be rude. I
I
didn't want to
told you.
interrupt you. Yep. But, we've been told that she did that when we were kids too. We'd be in the wrong cribs when she was babysitting and parents would get home. So all they could, like, oh, this is why the other one's crying because he didn't get fed and the other one got fed twice and the other one's fat and sleepy. So those kind of things happen a lot, I guess, when we were getting babysat. What's some pet peeves of yours as a twin? What are some things that you...
Well, that we've grown
Grew
up with. I mean, it was that we never got anything different. We didn't have our own identity. Always got dressed alike. At least we did get separate names. We didn't have rhyming names. It wasn't like Brett and Schmidt or Christopher and Christopher, whatever. Yeah, rhymes with that. So at least they gave us our own individual names. But other than that, and we reference this. We always got the same thing for gifts. It was, you lost your own identity a lot of times. And then just growing up pretty identical, we didn't have names to the outside world. We were either called Twin or Kemp. And hey, Twin, hey, Twin.
Hey, Twin!
Because people
Because
were
they didn't want to
afraid
get it wrong and be
your name wrong.
embarrassed.
Yeah, they didn't want to get your name wrong. So they just say, hey, Twin. So, but inevitably, it didn't matter if they called us Christopher or Brett. we would both turn around because we knew there was a pretty good chance they were trying to talk to us and they just didn't know which one they're talking to.
So back to the questions that we would probably most likely get usually in our younger years. Next up would be, did you ever switch classes when you went to school? And yeah, we did switch classes. We didn't go overboard with it.
Yeah,
I think
not
it
as
was
much
more
as
in
we
like middle
should've.
school. Yeah, we didn't take advantage of our superpower like we could have. But we switched classes, I think, in middle school, maybe a little bit in high school. We were kind of just running around, but it was never like I took a test for you or something like that. It was usually us just kind of goofing off and seeing what we could get away with. But on kind
We
of
really
like
should have done that more.
dang, yeah, we could have.
But no, we never swapped girlfriends. We didn't do
That's
that.
the next question. You guys ever switch girlfriends? So that was definitely one that was asked. Top 5 again, easy. No, I mean,
Nope. Didn't
I like
have
to think
one.
we're a lot alike, but that'd be kind of crazy to think that your girlfriend can't even tell any of your mannerisms. I mean, we're a lot alike, but there have been instances since we've gotten older that maybe we're visiting each other in each other's house and a butt was grabbed, a little
Nope.
groping going on,
Nope.
only to find out you're not, Christopher. Oops, my bad. I thought
My
you were
bad.
You were over there. And then you remember the other
Awkward.
tricks we used to play, right? Remember
Yeah.
what else we used to do?
Yeah, we did. So our kids would see us in the clothes all day, and our kids were probably 2, 3, maybe younger than that, and they'd see dad in the shirts like this. Well, then me and Brett would go out of the room and we would switch shirts, and then we would have our other ones. We would probably just pick them up without them really sensing who picked them up, and then when we start talking to them, they'd look at us and they would just sense, "You're not my dad," and it
Do
was
that kind of like
it was the most awful trick because they felt so just
betrayed.
yeah. They're like, "What did you do to me?" Yeah,
Or we'd be like open arms and be like, Kaylin, Brocky, and they'd like start to run towards us and be like, what the
you're not my
hell?
dad.
They'd be pretty irritated by the. But so then whenever we were around each other visiting and stuff, they were a little more apprehensive because they were afraid we were playing a trick on each other. And even now, though, our kids are a little bit older, they'd get halfway to a conversation or looking at one and be like, but you're not my dad. You're not my dad. Yeah. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how much, So if you're listening to us on the audio version right now, you're going to have to, get on the YouTube and see it for yourself that, we are pretty identical
Freaks.
twins.
Yeah.
And if we have any twins that ever are listening to this, hey, submit your pictures in the comment. Let's see how identical you guys are or how different you are. Yeah. We want to see. Yeah. So we talked about that, getting called, Kemp or twins. That worked out pretty good being in the military. Later in life, when we got used to it, we were already used to it, being called Kemp. Both of us being in the Air Force, all 3 of us at one point. And then sometimes we'd be in a kind of a public forum and all of a sudden somebody would be like, hey, remember me from so-and-so, da-da-da. And I'm like, what, do you know me or do you know my brother? So it'd be super awkward because a lot of times, I remember your first time in Korea when I was stationed there, your first weekend, I left. So I met you and then I went away for a long weekend. And it was a kind of a smaller community group and at that base where we're at. And then
Yeah, I met more
I showed you
people
the ropes.
because of the people you knew.
Yeah, I laid the groundwork for you. So, but everywhere you went that, 3 or 4 day weekend, everybody was like, what's up, Brett? Hey, man. Everybody's kind of, 3 sheets to the wind. And like, actually, hey, that's my twin brother, Brett. I'm Chris. And they're like, whatever, Brett. See you later. They just
Liar.
thought you were
Get outta
screwing
here.
around and goofing off. And like, you ain't got no twin. And then I'd see them like, the next week and be like, dude, you didn't tell me you had an identical twin. How did you not tell me? I felt so stupid. Like it was my fault. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was supposed to give you
That
my
still
bio. Like,
happens
no.
today, even at our age right now. When people know
Yeah.
us, even if they don't know us to the level where they would have any idea that I would have a twin, the moment they find out in a casual conversation, whether it be a professional conversation, whatever it is, they're like, "Whoa, you got a twin? Wait, you didn't tell me that?" And they act all offended, and I'm like, "I didn't know I was supposed to tell
Thought we
you."
were close.
Like,
You think
hey,
you know
nice to meet
somebody.
you. Just gonna let you know. I'm gonna throw it out there. I have a twin. I'm new in town. So weird.
I have a twin. He looks just like me because that's what
you-
twin means.
let me just bring up my pictures out of my wallet because everybody still carries pictures around.
But we would try to tell people when we knew each other were going to be in the same place or when we're visiting each other and we're having to get together, something like that. So we try to warn people, hey, if you see me, you might not be seeing me because it might be my brother. And like, what? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We have to get ahead of it. We're like, hey, just letting you know.
Yeah.
Or it's awkward when you run into somebody and you're like, they think They know me. And then after about a minute, they're like, "No, I know you, Chris, not Brett." And you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, oh
damn, now
god,
it's
that's
awkward
how
for me
unimportant
because
you
I
are in
forgot
my
who you
life.
were."
Yeah, that's the worst because they know everything and they know who you are, and then you're like, I just didn't even
I'm
know
the
who you
shit
are.
bag.
Yeah, my bad. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. So another question we get all the time is who's taller? And for the longest time it was you. You were taller. I don't know how somehow you started hitting puberty before me, and you were like an inch to 2 inches taller at one point. And that was some crap. I don't know how you got to be taller hitting cycles of life before me, but I won the long game though. I won the
Yeah,
long
I don't know
game.
what happened. I guess the life hit me and wore me down sooner. But then all three of us are really close in height, and obviously, for those watching,
Yeah,
you can
that's
see
right.
that there's definitely similarities where they think we'd be triplets. And at this point in our life, twins don't always look like twins, or brothers don't even look like they're related. So I think we're pretty fortunate to be
Yeah.
still have it together.
But Nicholas got to be the tallest after all. But that's only because me and Christopher split in half. You know,
Yeah,
so I
they
mean,
always Dad always
yeah.
said, "Just wait, Nicholas is gonna grow up and be taller than you and beat your ass."
And then we'd always say, well, there'll always be two of us.
Be
But I
two
guess
against
maybe
one.
not.
We're like 11 feet tall, 8 inches.
Yeah.
Huh?
Nicholas like, well, if I kill one of you,
Make the
then
other
there's
one
only
walk.
one. Shit.
I'll even the numbers out.
What's another story that you might remember, Nicholas? Time of Twinterview or twin stuff in your life where
Well, we
you
know
had to...
Nicholas looks enough like us to use our D's.
Hey, yeah. So go back to episode 1 or 2, one of them. Yeah, that did that. Yeah. So and you
Close
can
enough
hear
to
how
where
he
it
did
worked.
that.
No problem.
Yeah, just hooking up a little brother, a little triplet.
I know after we all hit puberty and joined the Air Force, there were multiple times that I looked close enough to you guys that I would see people that you guys knew and they'd look at me and they'd be like,
Yeah.
You got a brother? You got a brother in the Air Force? I'm like, yeah. But
Sure
then I wouldn't
do.
know which one. And I'm like, well, they're twins. So I don't know which one you're talking about. But there's that. And then just, I remember getting left out of a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of
But
times
you got left
intentionally.
in sometimes too, because how many times do we get birthday gifts and you got one too just because they want to leave you out? Oh,
I
I'm
remember
talking
that.
bikes. Shit. You were getting bikes because of us.
I got a bike on your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Same color though. Yeah, all
We
the
got
same
triplet
color.
gifts.
Yeah, I think about the dynamics for the parents, because you get two that are always going to be together, they're roommates. It's kind of hard to break that up, and then you get the one that's, a few years younger and kind of tagging along. So I always wonder like how did they handle that? What was their strategy on that? But I think because of it, it kind of made me a little bit stronger when I look back on it now, because it made me a little more independent, because I was
Definitely, because
I
we
was
talked you
alone a
into
little bit
doing all
more.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
We always sent you out to ask.
That peer
I don't-
pressure. We're
I
like,
don't know
"Come
how that
on,
happened."
Nicholas, we'd wear you down. We'd
You
wear you
guys-
down.
You
Go
guys
ask.
got
They
together.
like you. You're the favorite. You're the baby. Go ahead.
You guys got together and you spoke your own language, and you're like, we should get him to go do it again.
Yeah.
Let's talk him
He'll
into
go
it.
get us some money.
And
If something got broken, like
yeah.
2 against 1. This kid's a liar.
We'll go knock on the door to get somebody to let us mow their grass.
Yeah.
Send him. He's got the baby face, he's got the blonde hair, they can't say no to him.
Yeah, and then they'd come back. We'd be like, "No, why'd you say that? You messed it all up.
You idiot. That's not what you were supposed to say.
You got the script wrong. And then Nicholas was like, then you do it. I'm like, no, just kidding. Just kidding. You did
We're not
fine.
gonna do
You did
that.
fine.
Just go back."
Okay.
And they're like, what? What'd you say?
Yeah. So inevitably, the questions as we got older and times had gone by and we got some life experience, it would be okay. So which one's the evil twin? And somehow, some way, I mean, I guess maybe in my younger years, I guess I won the title of evil twin.
I think you took it right out the gate. The fact that you tried to kill your
Yeah, tried
brother
to
in
kill
the
him.
womb.
Yeah.
It was
What
meant
was
to be.
that movie,
like,
The Good Son? Tried to push me off a cliff.
you didn't have a choice, Brett. You were born into it.
Yeah, I tried to name me Damien or something.
Yeah, how do we know it
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
self-defense? And I was like, I will take all the food. And you're like, not if I get it first.
Yeah, this is how much our parents did not expect to have twins. So we were 2 months premature. So not only were they caught off guard by a couple months, but I didn't even have a name for 24 hours. I was
Baby Doe.
Baby Doe. So luckily, my dad thought of a name of a friend of his from high school or something. And he liked the name Brett instead of me being Schlichtifer or some dumb shit. So we did get at least our own identity in the fact that we had that. But man, that goes right into my other twin pet peeve. Now, as a twin, I cannot stand to see twins who get dressed. If they choose to dress themselves that way, that's fine. That's on them. But twins that get dressed as freak shows when they're babies, well, it's cute. But as they start to become toddlers or little human beings that are going to school and their parents are dressing them the same, I can't stand that. You are already treating them as a freak show rather than individuals who want to stand on their own, have their own likes and dislikes and get to know them. But instead, you're parading them around like the little freak shows that they are. Like, it's going to be bad enough. It's funny and cute, but it is just because you're making a spectacle out of them. I take personal offense as a twin.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Well, and parents do such a job as far as, growing up. If you did something dumb, we were both getting in trouble. Like, it didn't matter. Like, nope, Brett screwed it up for you. Sorry. You got to go to bed too. Like,
both of them.
There was no instance where like Brett got in trouble and I just wandered off and was okay. Like, no, Brett had to go to bed early. I get to stay up. No, it
For
was
sure,
not like that.
I was in on that too.
Yeah, you
Oh,
got
yeah,
brought in.
yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
you did. Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I mean,
That's probably an
usually
excuse.
if you got smacked in the head, I was probably standing close enough to you to hit that too. Sorry, no. Brett was lighting some shit on fire again.
Yeah. Why'd you smack me? I know you were thinking it.
You're gonna do
Share
it
the
next.
same brain.
Yeah, so I think sports, growing up stuff, we were all very competitive. I mean, there was definitely that sibling rivalry. I think a little more added because you weren't, for us, a lot, you would have a bigger brother or be the younger brother in a lot of capacities where, you weren't evenly matched as we were. So it was very much where we're kind of like, okay, if we're playing basketball, well, we're the same size. If we're playing football, we're the same size. Where, at least with Nicholas, there was a time where like, well, I'm bigger brother, at least for a time, that, like I can be outmatched against a little brother and be like, haha, I'm going to win. Me and Christopher are always, neck and neck and,
Well,
trying to
even
compete
now,
and stuff.
this has happened very recently. People are like, "Are you guys, competitive, or who did this, or who's better at that?" And I'd be like, "Whoa, hey, it's not always a competition, but it's always a competition, whether we choose to be or not. People are watching, they're judging, like he's doing it better than you.
Yeah.
He's better at that than you. Everything is a whether." The way you wear a shirt, the way anything, play video games, anything you do, people are sitting back and going like, that one's better at that one than that.
Yeah, or you got to go to the gym because you don't want to be the small twin.
That's
Like,
right.
oh, look, hey, this is, Ray Romano's got a bunch of good, funny comedy and stuff, and he does this one bit where he has identical twins, and his whole bit is very relatable because he talks about his twins, and then he mentions how, it's a good thing my twins are, somewhat attractive because if one walks across the room, you're like, oh, I don't know about this guy. But if the same kind of ugly walked across the room, you'd be like, oh, God, I don't know I didn't know if he was ugly until the second one walked across the room, and now I know it's confirmed he's ugly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just human nature for everything to be a comparison. So yeah, that's my pet peeve. I don't want parents, jump starting that comparison stuff. They're gonna have it their whole lives. So, why not scale that back a little bit? Maybe ask for their opinion.
Let them be their own person, please.
Yes. Fast forward. Who do you think's the responsible one now? We'll leave it up to Nicholas. We're kind of in the same stage, same place in our life. We both had full Air Force careers. Who's more responsible now?
Now,
I was a former evil twin.
what?
But I'm informed.
In your defense, we have taken turns of evil twin. It's switched,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
We'll take turns,
Still,
You were
who's
definitely,
more responsible now.
I would say it's split right down the middle.
You son of a bitch. You know how I hate ties. I don't want to pick my favorite. Oh, this is mom and dad all over again.
No, I think
Hey, Nicholas, that was the very responsible thing to say.
I feel like we've all been fortunate in our careers, and
Me or him, pick now.
you guys both have done very well. You both have retired. You both have second jobs and same pensions, and I mean, you guys both have a couple of kids, and they're growing up nice, and you guys good houses,
It's a tie.
good families. I mean, it's all good.
All right. So let the record show he did not answer the question. All right. Moving on.
Running for office.
It's Christopher.
Hey.
Damn. All right. Fine. All right. See, you win. There goes competition.
I picked him because he's older.
No. Okay.
I'm older.
3 minutes though. I'll
I'll
just
die
as wise.
first.
Responsible in 3 minutes.
I'll die first. I die 3 minutes before. That's what we used to think, that I'm going to die 3 minutes before Brett. Yep. Brett's going to die about 2 years or some change later before Nicholas.
Yep. I used to think we're going to die 3 minutes apart. And for whatever reason, I thought when you died when I was little, they just put you in the trash can. Well, I mean, what else are you going to do? They just put you in the trash. You're dead. Yeah. So I remember you being better at basketball than me. You were able to be a little more ambidextrous and use that right. I mean, yeah.
And just to let people know, I did not think when you died they put you in the trash. So there is a difference.
Okay. They put you in a dumpster
and lit it on fire.
Hey, okay. So, I mean, we didn't decide who was the smarter one either. Maybe we just did.
Yeah, keep talking. We'll let the people decide.
I'm losing this competition more and more. All right. Any other Twinterview questions?
I think I don't.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know Christopher's done. I'm in his head. Nicholas, did you have any more you wanted to shout out?
I mean, you did a good job of hitting everything.
I will give it out to those parents out there that have multiples, whether it be twins, triplets, or anything.
God.
I do not know how the hell they did it. Like, when you have one small child, that's a lot, right? Even when you have a child a couple years later and it's a 2-year-old, then you have a newborn, you're like, wow, that thing can do nothing. I cannot imagine 2 babies born at the same time that parents have to do everything that can't feed itself, change diapers, 2 of everything. It's just, I don't know how our mom and dad did it. It's crazy.
Imagine that you didn't even know it was coming.
It's true. Yeah. Thought you're having one baby girl and 2 little alien babies later, boys, Brett and Christopher.
Like, I got to go out and buy everything else and all the shit I was still waiting to buy.
Yeah.
I have nothing. We're going to put them in this cloth grocery bag diaper and get them out of here.
I'm going to tell you what, we'll keep one in the hospital. He'll have surgery. He'll stay there for a while. We'll get the other one ready at home. And then we'll bring him home. That's what
that reminds us. Yeah. And then Christopher, so he had a hernia surgery when he was newborn. And so I went home a couple weeks before him. But then when we were 4 years old, you had to have another hernia surgery.
Again, I was winning in the hernias. Pretty sure I have 3 now and you've had 2, so still ahead.
Yeah. But they wouldn't let kids in the hospital back when we were 4 years old. Back in the old day, I think you could smoke in the hospital, but you couldn't bring a kid in there. But so what'd they do? They dressed me in the same pajamas and just walked me right into his room because I needed to see my twin brother.
Yeah, because it was like an ET situation. Brett was at home dying, needing to see me. So they brought him back to life, and got him home.
Yeah, I remember that. The way they told the story too was, I'm just walking right in there, and you're recovering.
Oh, he's moving pretty good.
Sure is getting around all right. I think this one's ready to go home.
Discharged me 5 minutes after you left.
I can't move. You were just running down the hallway.
Fell right in his belly. Oh, no, he's good.
Yeah, he's got another hernia over here. Yeah. So it was like that kind of our whole lives and stuff. So there's a million more stories out there, and we still kind of look forward to them.
We survived. Here we are.
We're kind of fortunate right now that as we've gotten older, we are still, I think we're still identical twins, We kind of got the same beard right now, the same hairstyle, which has kind of changed over the years without even telling each other. We just show up and we look the same. Yeah, but, one of us didn't become bald, and one of us didn't become, fat and, out of shape and all that kind of fun stuff. So there's not like, oh, look, this is what you could have been and this is what you are.
We're not like a before and after picture.
Well, yeah. So we'll try to keep it that way as long as the sibling rivalry is going.
That's right. Stay competitive. Keep it young.
Just a reminder, though, hey, we're on all the platforms. So find us on TikTok, YouTube. Come watch the podcast if you're not watching us right now. Spotify, Patreon. We're on all those things. So come and find us. And
check us out on the socials, too. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We got new content every day. The Welcome Distraction. Hit the like, follow. It doesn't cost anything. Subscribe.
Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for getting distracted with us today. I hope this provided a good distraction for you. It's always a good distraction for us. With that, we're going to sign off. I am still the middle child by 3 minutes, Brett.
I'm still older.
I'm the younger, better looking brother.
No.
Yep.
Got us.
So we are the Kemp brothers. So thanks for stopping by on the Welcome Distraction podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
We out.